I'm here with Tom Adams, Director of Digital Workplace Services Portfolio Management with Unisys. It's great to have you here, Tom. How you doing, my friend?
Doing well. Thank you for having me.
Now, we have a ton of stuff to talk about today. Everything that you guys have going on with NEC and 7-Eleven and all the new services you're offering. But before we deep dive into all that stuff, I kind of just want to let everybody know a little more background on you and exactly what you do. So can you give us a little more info on that title?
Yeah, absolutely. My responsibilities are within digital workplace services and our service offerings. And so I have a team that we constantly look at the market, our customers' needs, and new technology that's coming out and how it could evolve those services. Those services being really focused around enhancing the productivity, efficiency, and satisfaction of end users. So everything from one of the service offerings is productivity and collaboration, which is really your Office 365 suite, SharePoint, Skype, and
Very day-to-day business software.
yeah, absolutely. It's really around that productivity. The second one is endpoint, which is really workplace security. So securing down, especially in this age of bring your own device, and really securing the enterprise data that's on these devices and the systems themselves.
And when you say devices, just out of curiosity, I mean, that covers the full spectrum from your mobile phones to iPad to Surface Pro to Kindle, anything like that?
It is all end user devices now. Yeah, it used to be very different. You would break those out by mobility versus PC, laptop, desktop.
Right.
But yeah, now anymore it's all become one, and so it's unified endpoint management. So
And that's
you name
spread
it.
across,
Everything.
Android, iOS,
Absolutely.
Windows, Mac operating system.
Absolutely.
Covers everything.
Extremely important nowadays, the security.
And I have to ask before we move forward, because it is a very long title, and I'm just curious: was it always that long, or as you guys incorporated more and more, did you just keep tacking on additional words to it?
Well, yeah. So digital workplace services is actually, we break it out between operations and then portfolio management because really you're operating day to day. It's tough sometimes to look up and see the bigger picture around the newer technologies. You have some customers that are early adopters, and then you have some that are more conservative about how they want to roll out those. So having a specialized team with a very long name that nobody can really say in one sentence is important to making sure that we continue to evolve those services.
It's a tough one to memorize, but I totally understand where you're coming from. I mean, back in the day, I could just say I'm a radio host or I'm a producer or something like that, and now it's become a digital broadcast media producer to make sure you incorporate all the new tech because everything's evolving and moving forward.
Yeah, very important to have digital in it now.
Yes. Oh, you got to have digital in it. Absolutely. So, I'm sorry, didn't mean to cut you
I
off
was
there.
going to say, so there's a third component of that, which is really the workplace support. And the workplace support consists of the service desk and our field engineering, dispatch, and on-site services.
Okay, so that's kind of where I wanted to start in terms of, now that we get into NEC, 7-Eleven, and that kind of stuff you're doing for those guys and your other partners. Let's just start with service desk, expand on that. What's new in that department?
Yep. So, as through our partnership with NEC delivering services to 7-Eleven, we sat down and had a discussion regarding 7-Eleven's objectives of really driving innovation into the stores. So not just support, but how the stores operate. So a very holistic view. One of the things that happens in this digital world and these innovative solutions, and as you're trying to innovate within your business, the support must innovate with it. So the very first thing that we did was take a look at, and this isn't just for 7-Eleven, this is something that we're doing holistically for all of our services. But we look at the model that we're in today. So if you take service desk, it's a very traditional model at this point. And so, you can throw the name next gen or digital or even intelligent in front of it. But it's still somewhat of a very systematic approach to an end user calls into the service desk. The service desk agent goes and looks in the different systems that they have access to. They're only as efficient or as effective as the permissions that they have within that system, or how integrated the systems are together. And so they work to resolve the end users' problems, but if they can't, then they open a ticket up to the second level. So in a situation of 7-Eleven, store employee calls in about the card reader or the pen pad, and so the service desk agent, based on the training they have and the materials they have in front of them, they go and start to diagnose what that issue is. In some cases, let's take a pen pad for example, it ends up having to go to a second level support, which can end up into dispatch. So there's ticket flow, and it's a very heavy, high touch
Right.
live agent process. And that's not really that much different from any other industry or support process. So one of the things that we have done is in May this year, we announced at the ServiceNow Knowledge 18 event our new platform by the name of IntelliServe. Now, flashy name, and
I was going to say, it's a cool name for sure. Yeah.
But it's really about how we're applying technology to solve for some of those challenges. And so I'm really excited to be implementing this with NEC at 7-Eleven, because one of the things that we have heard and consistently hear is, and this in the retail space, is that when you have somebody on the phone, an employee on the phone, they're not able to then help a customer.
Right. It's tying up there.
Yeah. And so this is going to allow us to really be able to get the employees off of the phone and be able to better serve them from a quality of service from the service desk, and be a lot more efficient and let them do what they need to do, which is provide that customer service.
Right. You're not taking them away from their primary job.
Yep. So the first step is, first piece of technology is we're introducing an omni-channel contact center. All that's big flashy words for.
Yes, I say omni-channel sounds very
Yeah.
very techy. So I'm kind of wondering what that means.
So what it means is that when a service desk agent receives your phone call, they have to go and look at within a history of a ticket. They have to go and try to dig into that information and read into it and say, how many times have you called the service desk for this issue? And I'm trying to service you quickly, so I don't have a lot of time to go and look at that. Omnichannel pulls that information in front of service desk agent and makes all of the interactions over time into one long conversation, but in a very compact format that you can look at it and I can say, okay, I understand that you contacted us by email a week ago. Now you're on the phone. Now the third contact may be by IM, and I see the other two and exactly what has happened. So we're not so dependent upon just the notes in the ticketing system, but we have that combined with the actual data and tracking of what happened over time.
Right.
So that's a big difference. And so
From like an analytical standpoint in terms of tracking the numbers.
absolutely. Yeah, so a lot more analytics are going into, we have data scientists that are combining some proprietary analytics that they're putting together, which is really just algorithms around how we improve the service to our customers, and even individually, so it's not just overall, but looking at each customer and being able to apply data science to that. And so while the contact center makes it a more personalized experience, we also know that a store, and one of the big objectives in a lot of different industries, but from a store employee, we want to get to a point to where you do not have to call us.
Because it's funny you mentioned that. I mean, we were talking a little bit before the show, and you mentioned that in many situations now, even though it seems with all the technology and phones and everything that it seems antiquated, yet when someone needs tech support fast, that's still their go-to solution. It's just to pick up the phone and call.
Yeah, support processes can be somewhat complex. So a lot of the providers have introduced 10, 15 years ago multi-channel, and people haven't really haven't really progressed to that multi-channel or really gotten comfortable with those channels because it starts to become I have to, instead of choosing which one, I have to decide which one
Right.
is best for getting what I need done, not how I want to contact you. So that's really the second piece of what we're introducing is our second generation of intelligent virtual agent. We've had a first generation that we've been looking at. We've learned a lot from it. We've got it deployed on customers, but the experience and the knowledge coming from that really moved us into implementing a second generation.
Yeah, and it's definitely a trend that you're seeing more and more of.
Absolutely. More of a cognitive communication interface, is really what you can call it. Its sole purpose is to communicate with you in natural language and be able to, as humans, we don't speak in very a natural language for computer systems to be able to pick up that intent of what you're wanting.
Right.
Because we don't just say that I ran late today for work. We say that when I got out of bed, I forgot where my toothbrush was, and then I got pulled over by, and got a speeding ticket.
Yep.
So we say all these things. At the end of the day, you're just the intent of what you're saying is I was late for work.
Right.
Right.
It's the same end result. You're just taking longer to get there.
Yeah, absolutely. So, all said, the way this is going to really impact the 7-Eleven stores is that this intelligent virtual agent will be the first line of contact, regardless of which channel that the store employee decides to reach out to us. Definitely phone will still be available, but we're going to add the capability of putting that virtual agent directly on the point of sale system. And so that now I can interface in with that virtual agent, and I can be doing other things. I don't have to stay locked in on the phone, going through troubleshooting steps. I can do that right there with the virtual agent on a keyboard, or even on a cell phone.
That's what I was going
if
to ask.
want.
What's the best way that you contact, the virtual agent and their, various types of interface?
Yeah, and that's one of the things that as working with NEC and 7-Eleven is we have various different capabilities and workflows. We need to work with them to define the best customer journey. So another difference is that the virtual agent will be integrated in with the other systems. And so this kind of brings us to the second, challenge that a store employee has is, let's say that issue resulted into a dispatch. So if I need to continuously, and I need to know when my equipment's going to get replaced or repaired.
And so that's the point that an actual technician has to come out, and physically assess the problem or fix it.
Absolutely. And so those dispatches, there's certain timelines and certain variables that define, whether we're having to wait on a part to come in so that we can go and replace it or whatever the case may be. Right now, a store employee has to call back to the service desk, ask the service desk, what is the ETA of getting somebody dispatched out? Service desk has to contact the dispatch center, and so on and so forth. So this was the third piece of the technology and innovation that we're driving into 7-Eleven and all of our customers is on the dispatch side. We're really changing the customer experience because what happens now is that, or going forward, is the fact that the virtual agent will be integrated into the dispatch system platform. And this is a new platform that's got artificial intelligence built into it, automatic or more of an automated scheduling based upon various, a lot of different variables that says what's the most efficient person to get there with the right skill set, so on and so forth. But I don't have to, as a store employee, I don't have to call back to the service desk. I have that virtual agent on my point of sale device. I can ask what the status is, what the ETA is. Now, once that technician gets dispatched, and this is the big change, is that the store employee will get a notification either on their cell phone or right there on their point of sale device, and that will give them a link and say somebody is being dispatched. You can go view the status here. It gives you a link. Once you go into the link, you will see that the name of the person that's being dispatched. You'll see a picture of that person. And you will also be able to see real time, very similar to Uber, where that person is located.
That was going to be my next question. Being a like I said, a layman to the vast majority of information technology services, is this kind of a similar tech to the way Uber works in terms of, the dispatcher shows you, a picture of it and you see in real time, well, as close to real time as they can get it, their actual, location and progress.
Absolutely. And so let's say that you're tracking your you're tracking your field engineer that's been dispatched out, and you see they weren't moving. Then you're able to communicate directly with that agent through the platform, or that engineer through the platform. So maybe that engineer got held up in traffic. Now the system will recognize that the ETA has changed. Again, taking another technology, Waze, right?
Sure.
Being able to see the real-time traffic and routing, that's part of the system to get there more efficiently and
Yes.
stay within those ETAs.
Waze updates, real quickly as you go.
Correct. It was very similar to that, but you'll be able to communicate with that technician, and that technician can communicate directly with you.
And how does that work? Just does it come in like a text, or they can just call you?
Yeah,
or?
it's more of a messaging within the platform itself.
Okay.
Like a messaging app.
Like a
within that
direct
platform.
message within Twitter or Instagram,
Correct.
that kind of thing.
Absolutely. And so, yeah, it goes both ways, and it's really designed to take that frustration out of that piece of the process. Now, there's a fourth piece, and we've had a lot going on this year of things that we're rolling out and implementing. But that fourth piece is once that engineer gets dispatched out to the store, you have cases to where the diagnosis was wrong, or the root cause of some of these issues can manifest themselves in various different ways. And so one of the challenges is can I get the right person with the right skill with the right part at the location to fix the issue the first time? Now, that doesn't always happen.
Right. A lot of moving parts there.
A lot of moving parts, and there's a lot of technology in these stores, and so there's a lot of different things that can be happening that can cause those issues. We are in the process of implementing right now with the support team on 7-Eleven and working with NEC to utilize augmented reality. Now, this is something all of our field engineering is using across the globe.
And a term you see pop up more and more, and a lot of people have
is.
absolutely no idea what that means.
It is. Yeah, so what it does is, first of all, is when the engineer indicates or determines that there's another skill set needed or they need help, they have access to skills all within our company, NECs, and even 7-Elevens to be able to connect. Again, going back to take FaceTime, very similar to that. I can call you directly based on your setup within a skill group. I need this type of help. I can call you directly, and it brings up a video feed. So it's more of merged reality because I can show you this mic, for example, with my cell phone. You can see that, but not only can you see it, you see the mic, you can point in front of it, and point to the cable that I need to check, or if it's dials that I need to turn or switches or whatever the case may be.
That is huge.
So
that is very,
it's
very
really,
futuristic.
really driven to the point of reducing those second dispatches. We're also in the process of implementing that technology on the service desk as well, so that, hey, let's not have to go directly to a dispatch when we can send it directly to the right skill to get that resolved.
And I can tell you 100%, it would be 1,000 times easier for me to fix a technical or an engineering problem with, say, a microphone if I'm able to actually see it and I can show you the components rather than if you're just on the phone. It's very, very hard to say, if you see this part, it just makes it a lot more cumbersome. I think that's way cool.
Absolutely. And it's, I think you can tell everything. So the evolution of these services, we're really focused on the customer experience and how we're changing that customer experience. We know what the challenges are in the market and the operational models. And so this year has been a year of transformation for our organization within Unisys, which will be manifesting itself into the services that we provide to our customers. And we were very excited to hear that with 7-Eleven's store innovation strategy, that they really wanted to move into this early adopter phase that kind of moves us up on the timetable to be able to solve some of these challenges quickly.
I think it's very exciting stuff. I mean, just the augmented reality alone is a game changer. That's still blowing my mind right now.
Yeah.
We are just about out of time, though. And before we go, Tom, I just want to ask, is there anything else? So, any final thoughts you want to leave us with in terms of augmented reality, virtual agents, everything going on tech-wise?
You know what? I think the thing that I would like to really communicate is the fact that we are committed to 7-Eleven, to NEC, to really bring innovation into our services. And not just for innovation's sake, but bringing things that are going to provide value and enable 7-Eleven to meet their objectives of innovating their customer service.
Definitely very exciting, and I'm very grateful that you took the time to come in and tell us about it, Tom. Thanks so much for coming in. Tom Adams with Unisys. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.